Hey everyone, this is Chris, and thank you for joining me again on my YouTube page. I do appreciate the ones who have been checking it out. Unfortunately, I still have not had time to really push it like I want to, but I'm getting there. A lot of stuff is going on, but this is what I want to do tonight. Um, I'm going to segue from the last video where I talked about um, how much is your life worth in regards to your job. How much money does it take to keep your job? Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit to that, and you'll find out how in a minute. But first of all, what I want to ask is, how important is money to you? Is money important at all? Is it a big deal for you to make money or not? To have it in your pocket or not, have it in the bank or not, right? Because if it is important, your goal is to try to make as much money as humanly possible, right? As long as it's legal, right? Okay, we can agree on that, I'm sure, right? Well, why is it that so many people settle then? Because at the end of the day, there's people who make money and there's people who don't make as much money, and it's really only because of one reason. One person wants to make it more than another. The word contentment is very dangerous. You can get content very easily. You can believe that the money that you're making is enough, and you'll create things to make that money that you're making that you know you aren't comfortable with, is not doing you much good. You'll make it work. You've heard that phrase before. Have you also heard the cliche, I'm paying all my bills? I'm paying my bills, right? I'm getting money. I'm getting money really only applies to people who are really self-sufficient. They are business owners, or they have a skill and talent that people want and have to pay for it. Getting money is not constituted in the realm of working for someone, because in essence you are accepting what they are willing to give you for your time. So you're not really getting money, you're accepting money, right? So that being said, is money important to you? Do you realize the only real difference between someone who is very wealthy to someone who is very poor is because that person who's very wealthy believes in themselves enough to say it's worth the sacrifice of working real hard for a period of time to never have to work for anybody again and to be financially free. Person who is poor is cool, no matter what you say, with where they're at. Even in my case, I have to look at the past, and at the end of the day, I was cool with the money I was making. Sometimes I'm making a lot of money, sometimes I wasn't making as much. I made it work. I think about times in Atlanta, living on Peachtree Street and whatnot, and paying for this, paying for that, going here, going there. I wasn't really making as much as I should have been, probably. Right? There's a lot of people who don't make as much as they should because they're afraid to ask for it. Right? There's a lot of people who don't make as much as they think because I shouldn't say that word, so let me think of another one. Again, they're content. They're comfortable with where they're at. The job duties is easy, right? As long as you don't just do anything stupid, a job will sometimes let you work forever, right? Or not so much. See, in the United States, the average American only works 3.5 years on the same job. Did you know that? Those are the numbers. So how important is money to you? Because if the goal is to make as much money as possible, you know technically, unless you are the vice president or president of a major company, the money that you make each month, not a whole lot. When you have bills and kids and wives and rent and car insurance and gas for the car and food and clothes and taxes and so on and so forth, right? So again, how much do you need to be good but above good? How much money do you need to have all your bills paid? How much do you need to have all your bills paid and have a lot left over? How much do you need to make sure that your kids do go to college on your dime and not have to be in debt for 10 years? And what are you willing to do to get it if you don't have the money? Because that question needs to be asked. A lot of people never ask themselves, well, do I have enough money? Do I need the money? Is money important? Right? Do you know that one of the best ways to be able to earn money over a long period of time is for either you to create something where people pay you on a monthly basis, or you invest in something that allows you to get paid on a monthly basis. And when you talk about that, of course, immediately most people think about cell phones and utilities and things of that nature. But have you ever thought about Walmart? Walmart made $478 billion in the year 2013 off of a whole bunch of people around the world paying Walmart monthly. You never thought about it like that, right? There's people who spend between $100, $200, and $300 every month religiously at Walmart or any other retail chain that you can think of, grocery stores, whatever. Those people who run those places, those are people who are getting money, right? Why can't you do that? Talk about that a little bit later. When it comes to putting yourself in a position to be wealthy, it does cost money to do it. The other night I talked about Elon Musk and electric cars and things of that nature, and electric companies that he's looking to try to find cheaper energy. And there's this one company that this magazine said if you invest $10,000 by year's end, you gross 67 grand. Do you have $10,000 in the bank? You remember one of my videos I said anybody who's worked at least 10 years should have $12,000 in the bank. That's $100 a month for 12 months for 10 years. But most of us don't have it. I didn't have it because there was always that time where that extra $100 had to go somewhere, right? But if you had 10 grand right now and put it into this one company, they're saying that there's a good chance by the year's end, $67,000. That's a pretty good rate of return, right? But you got people who've been playing the lottery for 30 years and still ain't won, and they're spending dollar here, dollar there, $10 here, $20 there, $100 there. I know people at the post office were spending $200-300 on the lottery every month. Think about how much money that would have been. Is money important, or isn't it? Now, let's talk about a way that money is important that people, for whatever reason, they still ignore, and that's with taxes. Now, taxes are a necessary item if you're in a country. Unless you plan on building your own roads and building your own schools and a whole bunch of other stuff that the government puts together for you, you're going to pay taxes, right? 2013 tax bracket. If you earn $20,000 a year and you're single, you're going to pay about $2,500 in taxes. Okay? If you're married, about $2,100. Married filing separately, back to $2,500. Head of the household, $2,300. Okay? $20,000 a year. That's your tax bracket. Okay? Remember in the other video I said that the average American spends between $7,000 and $10,000 to keep their job every year. So let's just say if you're a person who makes about $20,000 a year, okay, and let's just say 25. Let's say you are single, 2,500 of that tax, okay. Then add that $10,000. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the $10,000, go to the video before this one and watch it. You'll see. But the basic explanation is how much do you spend on your car each month? Car note, insurance, gas putting in the car, food that you spend, right? Clothes that you keep clean, keeping yourself all nice and pretty, nice and handsome if you're a guy, right? How much money are you spending in just those particular items? Your cell phone bill to make sure people can get in contact with you. The whole year, every month, what are you spending on stuff that is very important for you to either get to your job, maintain your job, food. You're not eating, you're passing out at work. So those things, you add them up, and there's people who spend between 7 and 10 grand. So if you're making $20,000 and between 7 and 10 grand are going just to work, I'm not talking about rent, utilities, all that type of stuff. That falls into it eventually, right? But not directly so much. And then taxes, how much money do you have left over on a monthly basis. See, that's what we got to get into, to where if there was a way to alleviate taxes to an extent to where that money starts coming back to you, you get to keep more of the money that you do earn, maybe that's an option you should consider. Especially if you decide to work a part-time job. What if you're making $35,000 a year, okay, but you find out you need to make more money and you go get that job that's paying $20,000? Well, again, if you are single, let's say if you have a child, you're making $35,000 a year, right? Single, $5,000 is coming out in taxes, okay? Then add up all of your bills, subtract that, right? How much money do you have left? Let's say you're going to get that part-time job that pays about $20,000 a year. Technically, that puts you in another tax bracket, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just use the number I just used for $20,000. How much taxes is coming out of the $20,000? How much more expenses are you adding with working the part-time job as far as eating out, getting daycare for your child, right? More gas in the car, right? Every month for a year. What do you come out with? Are you really actually making any more money? But what if you could write off your rent to your home or apartment? What if, because, no, I'm not going to skip over. What if you could write off your insurance for your car? What if you could write off the gas that you're putting in your car every month? What if you're writing off food? What if you're writing off clothes? What if you're getting tax credits that would benefit you, that would keep some more of the money that you are earning? Would that or would not that be important? Is money important to you or not? Because just on taxes alone, if all of a sudden the expenses that you never will get back otherwise, because remember, you're working a job, you're working a career, you get that check and your taxes have already been taken out, right? And whatever is left over, that's what you have to live on until the next check. That's what you have to pay your bills, right? So that money that you'll never see, depending on your tax bracket, until next April, where you either will owe or you will break even, or you might get some money back. Well, what if you can get more money back every year? Would that be a benefit to you or not? Will you just chalk up 20,000 in taxes and expenses and everything and not really make anything? Is it worth it to do it like that? Does it matter? Do you care? Because that's what those are the questions you have to ask. Because many people don't care apparently, because they continue doing the same thing over and over again, even though they have options, right? Just taxes alone. If you could alleviate the pressures of making sure your taxes are paid each year, would that be a benefit? That's the question. Because I can go through this very detailed. If you're making $38,000 a year, $5,000 is coming out your pocket. If you're making $73,000 a year, $14,000 of it gone in taxes. If you're single, let's just say. But again, $73,000 a year is not a whole lot of money. Throw in rent, utilities, car, insurance, gas, food, clothes and the cleaners, hair. Is money important to you? Now, the reason I'm saying all these things, and like I said, I'm going to do a webinar very soon. I'm going to break this down even more in detail. But the purpose of this particular video is just to make you think. If you could alleviate taxes for yourself to where they work for you a whole lot more than they might be. Now, again, maybe everybody has a perfect situation and whatnot. That's great. But if not, you see the contact information on the YouTube page, you need to hit me up so I can invite you to my next webinar where I'm going to be breaking this particular subject down in detail. Hopefully I get to hear from you. Hopefully this helped you a little bit just to kind of expand your horizons. That there's options out there to help you out just a little bit. That little bit helps, don't it? If money is important to you. With that being said, my name is Chris, and I hope that everyone enjoyed this little tidbit. Definitely look through the rest of the videos. That will catch you up a little bit on the information I mentioned earlier. And again, I will be doing a webinar on this particular subject later this week. Until then, y'all take care. This is Chris. Peace.